Milwaukee Police Chief Ed Flynn is speaking now, announcing he has fired the officer involved in the shooting of Dontre Hamilton. Let's go to him live.
These incidents is specifically allowed under the new state law requiring the criminal investigation of officer-involved shooting deaths to be led by an outside investigative agency. Today, I will provide you with the details of this incident, present the internal charges I have brought against the involved officer, and describe the discipline I have imposed and the grounds for that discipline. On April 30, 2014, two Milwaukee police officers were dispatched twice, first at 1:52 p.m. and then again at 2:09 p.m. by our communications division to respond to a request from an employee at the Starbucks located in Red Arrow Park to check the welfare of Mr. Hamilton, who was laying or sleeping on the sidewalk near that Starbucks. Those officers complied with their training and our department policy related to the handling of emotionally disturbed persons and followed relevant training related to the standards required to conduct a pat-down search. Their handling of the complaints involving Mr. Hamilton did not result in any physical contact with him, and the officers found no cause for additional police action. At 3:28 p.m., Milwaukee police officer Christopher Manny, the beat officer for this section of downtown, responded to a voicemail left for him by a desk officer from District 1 to respond to Red Arrow Park to check the welfare of a citizen based on a complaint from a Starbucks employee. Officer Manny was not aware that the two officers had already twice responded to the park and cleared the calls for service. Upon his arrival, Manny found Mr. Hamilton lying on the sidewalk near the Starbucks. Manny approached Hamilton, identified himself, and asked Hamilton to stand up. When Hamilton stood up, Manny approached him from behind, reached under his arms, placed his hands on Hamilton's chest to conduct a pat-down search, and asked him if he had any weapons. As Manny began the search, Hamilton began fighting with Manny, and a violent physical confrontation ensued, with Manny and Hamilton engaged in a series of punches and strikes to each other's heads and faces. Manny then attempted to use his baton to subdue Hamilton, but Hamilton was able to take the baton from Manny. Hamilton swung the baton at Manny multiple times and struck him on the side of the neck with that same baton. Fearing that Hamilton would seriously injure or kill him, Manny transitioned to the service weapon, firing multiple rounds at Hamilton to stop the threat. Mr. Hamilton died of his wounds. Now, our code of conduct requires us to hold ourselves accountable for our actions. Our core values of courage, competence, integrity, leadership, restraint, and respect guide our rules, our policies, our procedures, our awards, and our disciplinary actions. We must always calibrate our actions based on the circumstances we find ourselves facing. Policing is a difficult and challenging profession in which we are expected to make decisions, sometimes split-second, life or death decisions in ambiguous circumstances with incomplete facts. We know and expect that our decisions will be evaluated. In this case, we have a series of decisions by Officer Manny that resulted in the taking of a human life. While I find errors in the judgment of Officer Manny, there was no malice in his decisions. Every internal investigation is conducted and evaluated on the specific facts of the situation being investigated. In this case, we did not simply review the use of force by Officer Manny, We reviewed every aspect of the situation, from the handling of the original call for service, to the dispatch of Officer Manny, to his approach and contact with Mr. Hamilton, to his ultimate use of force. Every internal investigation also includes an assessment of aggravating and mitigating factors. Specifically, I review the employee's motivation. Was the employee acting in his or her interest or the interest of the public? I review the employee's experience. Can the alleged judgment error be attributed to the employee's breadth and depth of experience? We also evaluate whether the alleged error was intentional or unintentional, the employee's past record, both positive and negative, and the degree of harm caused by the employee's conduct. Christopher Manny, by his own statements in his response to charges, accurately assessed Dontre Hamilton as an emotionally disturbed person. He made a determination that Mr. Hamilton was dangerous based solely on observations of apparent mental illness, absent any overt actions on the part of Mr. Hamilton. Despite his accurate assessment of Mr. Hamilton as an EDP, Christopher Manny treated Hamilton as though he were a dangerous criminal instead of following his training and treating Mr. Hamilton as an EDP. Christopher Manny's approach, including an out-of-policy pat-down, was not based on individualized reasonable suspicion, but on an assumption of his mental state and his housing status. This intentional action, in violation of training and policy, instigated a physical confrontation that necessitated a use of deadly force. Based on the comprehensive internal investigation conducted by the Milwaukee Police Department, I charged Officer Manny with a violation of our core value 1.00, competence, in reference to his out-of-policy contact with Mr. Hamilton, which ultimately led to his within-policy use of deadly force. Based on the totality of the circumstances, including the aggravating and mitigating factors I've described, I signed an order terminating Christopher Manny from his employment with the Milwaukee Police Department earlier today.